Good evening, everyone. Guess who's in charge of the music?
Go, sister. What we got?
Tribute to Mary Wilson. Life's been good to me.
All right.
Sing it.
Only trying to make it out the city. Never in my wildest dreams I would make history.
It's going down. We can't hear
Grace
it.
and mercy, everyone. It's my first time.
I'm taking the
Can you hear
music
it?
from you. We can't hear it.
You can't?
It's like faint. Okay.
So I'm blessed that I've been privileged.
Can you hear it there?
About the ones that helped me along the way. I'm a living witness like it make it your day.
Be sure to check in. Tell us where you're from.
Alright with me, 'cause I'm thankful for the life I got to live my dreams.
All right. Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing tonight? And happy Friday. Welcome to another edition of season 2 of Sistah Chat Live. We are excited to be here tonight. Let me tell y'all, everything that's trying to go wrong is going wrong. In about 1 second, I'm going to pop myself out because I forgot to put the light on. So, Lashon, say hello while I go on and put the light.
I'll go ahead and do the tribute while Sharhonda gets herself together. Tonight, we are celebrating and a special tribute to Mary Wilson. Mary Wilson was one of the longest performers, members of the Supremes. She was a successful member of the Motown Act starting from the 1960s, and she was a motivational speaker. She often was on Billboard's Top 100, and it is with great sadness that about 4 days ago, Mary Wilson passed away in her home. But we celebrate the legacy and the trailblazing efforts of Mary Wilson and the members of the Supremes.
Yes. Awesome tribute. I didn't even realize she had passed. I feel like that one skipped me until I think yesterday or something when they announced it on The View or Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. So, all right. So, did I not turn on the light?
Well, listen, we're just going to go with it because before we do our introductions, normally we start our show off with doing a little check-in, but we're going to mix things up a little bit. And instead of starting with our intros, Sharhonda, you want to tell the people what we have happening?
Oh, okay. So I see that we have Dre is in here from Maryland. I'm
Hey,
from
Drag.
Baltimore now. So we're excited to have Dre with us. Listen, y'all, if y'all are joining, be sure to like and share and tell somebody to join us because we're going to have a lot of fun. And we're really tired because we were up past midnight celebrating Mommy's birthday with Mommy. And we have a special guest tonight who decided to, do what we used to do back in the 80s where we just stayed up all night. So we're going to be chilling. So we have a special guest, and we probably just gonna go ahead and open the stage, right? So, as Lashon says, Lashon, let them know what open the stage means.
Open the stage means text us, put in the comments that you would like to join us, and we'll invite you on the stage. Kind of a little clubhouse action, where you just raise your hand and they just bring you on the stage.
So just make sure you keep it clean and keep it classy. All right. So should we bring them on and then do our intros? Do you think we should?
Yes.
The people are waiting. You think the people are waiting?
The people are waiting, and there's a special guest with a special guest.
Right. So I don't even know who we should have come first. Like, should we invite the special guest, or should we invite the special guest? All right, let me do this disclaimer, okay? Because first the volume wasn't working. Now it says the internet is shoddy. So, Sean, just you might have to pay attention because I don't even know what's happening here, y'all. So if I bounce out, right, know that Christ got me, right? Because He's gonna take care of me. But anything can happen here. All right, so as our special guest gets ready, you see our special guest. I think the special guest to the special guest just kind of took over. So I'm checking in the background. We're looking on this behind the scenes. I think we're ready. So we're going to go ahead and I see we're ready. We're going to introduce to y'all our very, very special guest.
Hey, special guest is here. That was a lot of hype. I hope I'm as special as you all think I'm going to be. I think it was more focused on this little one.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, just tell everyone who you are and then introduce the special guest.
Who am I? Well, I could tell you my name. My name is Michelle Chiaro, and I'm from Jersey, dirty Jersey. Who I am, I'm still trying to figure that out.
And we're going to get into that tonight. I think that's a good segue, especially as women. I'll be 50 this year. And that's a question. Who am I? What is my purpose? Am I living that? So yeah, let's put that to the side. And
this cutie right here is Mercy Gianni. His auntie Muka would like to call him Mercy G. So we'll go with that.
Be sure to follow Mercy on IG.
Oh, let's drop Mercy. Put that plug in. Yes. Mercy_the_mini.
Dre, you got that? Dre, make sure you put that in the chat so folks know how to follow my nephew. Yes. Hey, Munchie.
Hey, Danielle.
So, I know we got some people that are on YouTube. We have some people that are on Facebook. So we're excited, and I think I need to share this. I'm gonna share it to it's to the Beyond the Mask page. So we're good.
This is a whole live production. I just want to say, when I was invited to Sistah Chat last night at the 12th hour, I'm like, okay, sisters getting together, talking on Zoom, what we did last night. But no, we got intros, backstages, lights, cameras, act like this is really legit production going on, people. I hope everybody knows what goes into this. Like, very good, very good.
Well, thank you.
Yes, we're super excited to have you. And who are you?
That is, as we decided, that's to be explored. But I like the way Michelle said, my name is Lashon Moseley. Let's see, mother, wife, friend, sister, educator, coach, joyful, just happy to be here this evening and just enjoying this moment. That's what I'll leave right there. And Sharhonda, who are you?
I am, well, you already said my name, so I don't have to tell the people who my name is after that. But I'm Sharhonda Ford, yes. And I am, by way of last name, Kyrie's wife. I am a God's girl, and I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, and so much more. I am the Hope Dispenser Psychotherapist, and I am everybody's favorite marriage counselor. Ain't I though? Okay. I'm just gonna be a little bit humble. Sorry. All right, so that's who I am, I'm just an all around. I'm not just all around chick. So Michelle, I do have to say this, all right? So Michelle, we are super excited that you have joined us. We did not tell you, right? Michelle had no clue, right?
No, and you kind of led up to it, like 15 minutes before, like I was supposed to call into what I thought was like a Zoom call with my friends, and you said Pat backed out. I'm like, backed out of what? Like Pat backed out. She got nervous. Nervous for what? Like, Muka, what are you doing? Like,
so listen, Michelle,
one thing she didn't say when she gave you all of her adjectives is extra. So Muka goes above and beyond with everything in a good way. I know a lot of people use the term extra in a bad way. I'm saying it in a good way. Like, Mook is definitely extra.
Well, that's
And
what I was going to say.
that name. So if I'm revealing a name that people don't know, yeah, like this is family, right? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is someone who has known, how long have you guys been friends? Let's start with that.
Well, we were friends for probably like 2 days. And then after that, we became sisters. Like, I don't think our friendship, we went straight to sisters, and Ron was the father. We had another mother, and that was our story. And we stuck to it for pushing almost 40 years. So since we was born, because we're both, I'm not afraid to tell my age. I'm 48. Like, some people, they try to take a couple years off. I'm like, I've earned all 48 of these years. I'm not try to take nothing away.
I know that's right.
Yes. So in this friendship, I would say, Sharhonda, pretty well. So when you say, extra, is this how she was, even as,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Since first day in school, like I said, we lasted as friends for 2 days. And then I think maybe that next week, or maybe I might be exaggerating a little bit, maybe that next 2 weeks, we had the best friend sweatshirts that we probably wore once a week. And then after that's the week after that, then that's when we were sisters. Like, and she was always over the top, always the one to speak her mind when something wasn't right. And with her, or something she saw, was always the first person to speak up. So I admired her then. I admire her now. Oh no, we ain't doing that.
So let me tell y'all what happened. So last night, right? So let's first just say, Mommy, are you on? Hey, Stone. Hey, Danielle. If Mommy is on. So as we know, yesterday I was over the top excited. I went live. And we're not going to talk about the fact that Michelle didn't even know about Sistah Chat Live. We're going to save that because we're on like episode 20 of Sistah Chat Live. So we're not even going to talk about that. But after I posted that Mommy's Zoom birthday call, which was a 2-hour call, was still going on 3.5 hours later, Michelle was like, "Oh, I missed it." I'm like, "No, I'm each jump on in." So, she jumped in, and we ended up being on the Zoom call for 5 hours. So after midnight, after about 5, okay, y'all, good night, we decided to hang up. But it was awesome. And it was just like being back home on Dwight Street, like just being back home. And so we laughed because we were like, we're doing literally what we were doing every time we get, look at Isabel. So Isabel's here too. Same here. Sister from another mister. Hey, Isabel.
Hey,
extra always. Oh, yes. Isabel probably has a lot of stories too. Hi, Isabel.
So we just jumped right in where we were. So we're just really excited. But the main thing was that we were celebrating Mommy, and it was just super amazing. And we all got to share like just amazing things about her. And so I tried to set her up today and created this flyer with her picture on it and sent it to her and was like, "Yo, Ma, you're gonna be at Sistah Chat." And then 7:15, she was like, "But I'm not though." So I was like, "Well, I'll talk to you later." Right. So we just let it go. And I took her off and I sent it to Michelle and was like, "Yo, she's not joining us." So we're excited. Michelle, typically Sistah Chat is like an hour, but sometimes it gets real hectic depending on the audience. So we're going to freestyle it because that's what we do. We talk about everything from, A to Z. It doesn't matter what it is. And we just kick it. So y'all listen, if y'all have some questions, drop them in the chat. If you want to know how you could follow my nephew, Mercy G, ask us and we'll let you know. He's on IG. Mercy G is on IG. Michelle, tell me what the G stands for.
Gianni. I had to give him a little bit of. I had to give him a little bit of culture, my culture, Italian culture. I wanted to make sure he had a little bit of that in it, so that's why. I guess I could be extra too, right?
Yeah, but listen, the fact that your dog has a bed in every room, I don't know if we're really going to give me that capital E.
Oh, yeah, I do. Well, I mean, he's a baby, right?
I was going to say, I
want him to feel welcomed. I want him to know he belongs here. He's home, wherever he is in this house. He can lay down.
Okay, then. Awesome.
Yeah, I became that person. Okay.
I love it. And so
The person that would cringe at the idea of an animal being in the kitchen, I'd be like what? I'm not eating from them. Yeah, now he has a bed in the kitchen. So if y'all don't
ooh.
want to eat from me, okay, but it's a clean
So tell
kitchen.
us,
Just put a
how
dog
did
bed.
Mercy, how did it go about you purchasing Mercy? What brought you to do that?
So it's been a well, I don't want to say a battle. So it's been a discussion in my house with my significant other because he's, into dogs, but not, of course, cute dogs, because a man, he shouldn't even be saying cute dogs.
Right.
So when we've been talking about a dog, I've been wanting one for so long. I think COVID really sealed the deal. I'm like, okay, I'm here all day in this bubble. I need to, have something to occupy besides whatever work or whatever. So I like kept showing him different dogs. He was like, that ain't no dog. Like, who's the mother? What's the line? They're like, bruh, it's like a puppy for me. Like, we're not going to the UK to get this dog for $15,000. Like, that's not what we're doing. So I, typical me, I just kept at it, and he finally gave in. And Mercy's actually my Christmas present, but we got him on on New Year's Eve.
And I did hear, during this time, a lot of people have adopted pets and been bringing pets into their home. And it's definitely, been a coping mechanism because, like you said, we're in our bubble. And when would you have this time again that you could actually train your puppy and have this time to be with them?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the exact stats, but I do know that many people have followed the same journey of adopting pets.
Oh yeah, I think I seen on the news that there were certain shelters that like cleaned out, like they were able to find homes, for all their animals. I was on a call with a group of coworkers a few weeks ago, and one of them does rescue dogs. So, and I'm not trying to say I'm above that or whatever. Like, I wanted a certain kind of dog, and I knew I wouldn't be able to find that dog as a rescue. So I went to a breeder, and she made a comment that I felt was like, that's so inappropriate. She was like, oh, you're puppy mill dog. I'm like, like, you're talking about my kid, lady, like, relax. And I had to remember I'm at work, and I carry myself a certain way at work, and I'm like, but I kind of like, I said, he ain't from no damn puppy mill. And then I caught myself like, okay, that's not the Michelle they know, so get it together, sis.
But isn't that the same? And then when I'm thinking of Sharhonda, when we talk about different types of adoptions, people will make a comment, oh, is that your bio child? Is that your adopted child? Is that your foster child? And I think people sometimes are just insensitive.
I think so too. And I actually can say that I have been insensitive to pets. It's no secret, right? That I'm not a pet lover. I'm learning to be a little bit more compassionate because I don't have to love what other people love, but I can be respectful of what other people love or what other people like. And so I am learning that. But you're right, LaShawn, when Michelle said that, I thought of the whole concept of which one of those is your bio child, right? And so for adoptive families or families who have adopted children, no one wants to have that conversation or be in the midst of that conversation. Which one of these is your bio child? So is that your rescue dog or is that your dog from the breeder? Like, everybody's not
Oh,
differentiating
hey,
that
Pat.
way. Everyone's not
I'm missing you
differentiating that way.
on here with me.
Um, All right. So, but I think so. Michelle made a good point, LaShawn, and it leads into what you were talking about as far as identity, right? Michelle said that's not the Michelle that they know. So, I think one of the things that it's interesting. I've known Michelle almost 4 decades, right? And so we have nothing but history. But one thing that I do know is that we've known the same person, right? So we've been the same throughout. But we also both know how to code switch. And oftentimes when I talk about my childhood, I do talk about Michelle. I talk about the diversity of growing up on the White Street, of growing up in Jersey City, of being in a melting pot, especially versus living down here in the South where diversity is different, right? So, but I'd love to hear more about that, Michelle. With which Michelle do they know?
I think the mature grown up Michelle is probably who they get. The one who thinks more before she speaks. Um, definitely. And I do feel that I work with people that have different upbringings than me, different backgrounds. And I never, but I never forget where I come from. And I don't always and I don't hide it, my story or, anything like that. Like recently somebody asked about going to prom. You went to prom? I'm like, nope, didn't go to prom. Like I went the alternate route for high school, period. But they would never know that, like from what they see and how I am as, if I had to pick a word to define myself, as how I am as a leader. They see me as, this strong leader that gets things done and not somebody that's had different obstacles like in my way, to get to where I am. So, but I kind of use that to my advantage. Like as I sit at a table with different people and people that are, a lot more privileged. I mean, I know I'm privileged just by the color of my skin, like just putting it out, saying it. But I sit at a table with people that have the white picket fence and grew up with that, grew up with mom and dad, went to college where mom paid for college and they don't have a student loan that they're still paying for, and they repeated that cycle. They're living in, and again, I mean, there's some of my coworkers that I love to death, like good people. So it doesn't make them not good people. But it's just interesting that certain things that come up, certain like topics that come up, and the company that I work for, it's a childcare company. We have schools all across the country, and our tuition is extremely high, and we're not in certain areas of certain cities. Like it's just because parents can't afford our tuition. And we were on a call today, and it was interesting because they talked about voucher programs and why we don't take voucher programs, because it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of mess, and we end up owning that bill because even the copay the parents can't afford. And I said, how unfortunate is that we, because of the legwork, the stuff behind the scenes, those children in those neighborhoods can't be afforded the same quality care that VPs of different companies are getting. I'm like, if we're and I am proud of the company I work for, like the stuff that they do and for the, just overall and how much they've embraced diversity and inclusion. Like it's not something that they do, like they flipped a switch on because Black Lives Matters came on. Like, no, it's who they are always. So I'm like, we're in a position where we could hire somebody. Like we have the resource to hire somebody to manage a voucher program. So I've like shifted their thinking, and they're like, now they're all on board. They're like, that's amazing. You're right. Think about how much we can help, like the teachers that work for us, that they can afford to send there, because our teachers can't afford to send, some of the directors can't afford to send their kids there. So like I just changed their thinking. And I think that because I'm so connected to where I come from and who I am, that's why that's my passion. That's what I care about. But other people sitting at that table don't think like that. They just like, nope, let's move on. Let's, get somebody else for $3,800 a month, like, no, let's make it work where those that can't afford us can afford us. Like,
and I think that's why it's important that we have the diversity and other people sitting at the table to shift that perspective. Because like you said, they weren't thinking that. And that to me is a perfect example of an allyship. You used your upbringing to shift this perspective and could open up this opportunity for countless families. So I appreciate that. And that's staying connected to where you come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's interesting too, because a lot of times, for me, because I've moved, right? So moving to Maryland, people in Maryland, I mean, I've been going from Jersey since '98. So no one knows Mooka. And we laugh about it all the time, right? We laugh about how Mooka is like somebody else, right? And that the people who I know now, they wouldn't know how to handle Mooka. So I try, and but I always make it clear, like, listen, they ain't trying to meet Mooka either, right? Like, so these people better keep trying to stay cool with Sharhonda because Mooka's not who they want to see. But I think what's interesting is that people don't expect, and I know this for sure, people don't expect that I have the experiences that I have. They see church, they see professionalism, they see this. They don't see the hood. Dre sent me a shirt today. I told him I wanted it. I can't remember. Dre, what did it say? The t-shirt you forwarded me. It was like something about hood and holy, right? But I think that I sometimes, we know I got the propensity to be hood. It's no secret, and I don't excuse it either. I have the right to be who I want to be when I want to be that person. But I think that having those opportunities to show people, right, when they're looking at you like, oh yeah, nah, I grew up in Jersey, or oh wow. Oh, people are going, Jersey City, 5 minutes from Manhattan. Oh,
It's
oh,
funny
Jersey
because
City.
even, I mean, how it's like Jersey City and Bayonne. Like growing up, it was like, oh, Bayonne. Like you don't even go into Bayonne when you're from Jersey City. And now I live in Bayonne, and people say, oh, I don't know, I didn't know you were from Bayonne. No, I'm not from Bayonne. Like, and I'm like so quick to claim like no, I'm from Jersey City, Greenville. Yes. Like, oh, I thought you were from Bayonne. Nope, that's just my address.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm from the hill.
Thank you.
We do. Yeah. Claiming
LaShawn,
claiming our old neighborhoods. What did you say?
LaShawn, what's your? Because that's true too. Even for you, Pittsburgh, Homewood, and I saw Kiva said diversity of experience, not just color, and that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true, and that is a little bit about what I was referencing. But you have a unique seat at the table, also, right? Because you're sitting at the table for students, you're sitting at the table for parents, you're sitting at the table for educators. So when you're sitting at the table in one seat, you're filling many roles. So what's your experience, and how does that help define or maybe even muddy your identity?
Oh, that's such a heavy question on a Friday night on Sister Chat. It's supposed to be light, but you're right. I think it's because I'm a whole being. When I show up in a space, I'm not just an educator. I bring my lived experiences. I bring growing up in the inner city. I bring being raised by a single mom. I bring being raised by my grandmother until I was 5, and so it helps me to have empathy and compassion, similar to what Michelle was saying, is I'm able to look at a situation from multiple perspectives, broad, and then at the same time bring it in narrow, and then help shift the conversation. So I do think it's important that we hold on to our past, because it definitely can have an impact and open doors and windows for others, in our different roles. So yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
And for
because
you
Great
as a
job.
therapist, how does that lend itself to what you do with your clients?
Are you always psychoanalyzing everybody, and like every time you meet somebody by the way they say hello, how they shake your hand? Well, nobody's shaking hands these days, but pre-COVID, how they shake hands, or like, is that you? Are you sizing people up? Because it's I'm saying that asking because when LaShawn asks like, who are you? And I'm thinking like, who am I? I started out by saying my name, because I feel like once people say who you are, like once you say who you are, people already start to add up who they think you are. So if you say you meet
hmm
Mooka and you say, oh yeah, I'm a therapist, like therapist, oh Lord, here she go. I gotta watch what I say. I gotta make sure I don't say this. Like
hmm
it's or if you see a man dressed nicely, clean suit, nice watch, shoes, probably two things people look at the first, and
Mm-hmm.
then he tells you he works, on a garbage truck. Right
hmm
away we start sizing him up. No, he doesn't. He's lying. Like the way, like it's just what people do for a living. Too much we allow that to define who that person is, as and sometimes it does overlap, of course, because you'll hear works job saying a lot like, oh, work-life balance. There is no balance. Like you can't separate you can't separate your work family from your family. Like not if you like you are better together. Like you do have to come together, and those lines do get blurred, but you have to be mature enough and smart enough to know when like you need to like switch lanes. But there's no way that there's a work-life balance. Like the two go, and I guess, you know, it depends on what your role is too at work, because there's times like, I'm thinking my role, like I don't cut off at 5 o'clock. Like, oh, that's it. You know, I may have a little bit more ease or less worry when I know that all my schools are closed. I don't have to worry about it. Like, but still, I'm not off. Somebody could still reach, like,
So
but that's my balance. Like, I just,
I'm going to answer your question, Michelle, but I'm also going to kind of just preface how we got here. So when I was creating a flyer, I sent Michelle a message like, what's your title? Which I knew, right? And I went on LinkedIn to confirm it, right, what her title was, but I made something up. And so I sent her the picture. I was like, you got 3 minutes to change this, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to call you whatever I want.
The first response I gave her was drop the business. Like, I don't want to, like, drop the business. Like, I try to, you know, of course the business is the business of what we do. But like, I feel like you put, what did you have me? Education consultant or something, business, but you put business first. And I'm like, for me, like, I'm about the people, right? So when you put that business there, it's, I feel like you're removing the people piece. So that was the only thing I said, like, drop the business piece. But this is my title at work. But that's not me. Like, I want to be a motivator, like influencer. Like if you want to give me a title, that's what I want to be, like realist. Like, you know, that I want something like that. I don't want manager of this or manager of that, like manager of life. That's what I'm doing. I'm managing my life. Like,
right. And right now we all working for that. So, but I thought that was interesting. And I know that whenever I would speak and people ask me for a bio or whatever, I used to really struggle with it. I'm like, look, I'm just who I am. Like, I don't even care. You can, you know, whatever. I'm Sharhonda, I'm God's girl, you know, whatever. So I'm with you with that. And it does, just like you said, people not going to really, they're going to decide who you are anyway. It doesn't really matter what you write or what your title is. People are going to decide who you are for themselves. And so to answer your question, you said, do I size people up? And I have a couple of things to say about that. I like Kiva was like, only if it's billable, right? I'm only the psychotherapist when there's 0 to 50 minutes hit, right? But I also think about Nana, right? So Nana, as you know, some people know, was a speech pathologist, but we always laugh. I know Melissa, like we always joke, like when we're around Nana, we had to watch our P's and Q's, right? Because we're expecting her, because she's a speech pathologist. She's always going to be correcting us and telling us how to speak. So look how long ago that was a thing, right? Like, oh my God, your grandmother's a speech teacher, you know, whatever, you know, well, we got to watch what we say around her. Or it's the same thing with religion or whatever, like, oh, I don't, you know, we don't curse around. Yeah, like, and so all of those things we just create those walls and divides, and I don't think we have to have them. Finally, work-life balance. So Mommy and I were talking about this today because I had a conversation yesterday, and I was talking to someone, and I was like, they said something, work-life balance, and I repeated it. And for the first time in my whole life, right? So we know 20 plus years in HR management dealing with work-life. And I was like, why do we call it work-life? Why is work first? Like, right? So why isn't it life-work balance? Why do we work to live instead of live and work, right? So how did we get inculcated in a culture of people who work first, where work is at the heaviest part of the equation and life is second? And I think we've all just kind of become accustomed to work being the priority. And we build life around it, buying things, choosing how we live, choosing what we do based on how we want to live. How do we get there?
Well, because it's a male-dominated society. So if we take it back to when the women stayed home and men went out to work, and that would be a white supremacy culture as well, because the system wasn't designed for Black families. But, you know, typically the male went out, did the work, the woman stayed home and took care of the kids in the house. And so once we entered the workforce, then it became, how are you going to balance all of those things? And if we think back to Huntsville, Martell, what does he say? He like, who gonna
Who gonna do this? So it's no secret. This is where I get a little controversial. I'll keep
You?
it light for the night. But I do believe that as women, we do have, and this is just me, this is the stance that I take, and I'm not going to make any excuses for it. I'm just going to say the basis in which I believe it. It's a biblical basis, and I believe that we do have roles, right? I do believe that we distort those roles because we had, and it's not, I don't know that we can really do anything about it now either, because we have been raised to be the best of everything as women, right? We got our rights, and we decided we want to be the top of everything. We can just be anything we want to be. And in the midst of our striving, we stopped focusing on the thing that was important, and that is the family. And so, and that's a generalization. I believe we stopped
So wait,
mothering.
I'm just let me stop for 1 second. So you think that because women work hard or have to give, if a man is working 8 hours a day, a woman has to work 10 hours a day to show I don't need to leave early to go home and take care of my kids. So the woman is staying that extra hour. So are you saying because of that, that woman is not putting her family first?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, no. I'm saying the overall concept that we have to do so much, right? Families, right? With women, when they didn't work, men, like women couldn't even get their own house, right? So we know that prices were different. I think the reason that everything is so high now is because everything is based on two incomes, but everybody doesn't have two incomes. But because we have changed the trajectory of how life is for the family, it is causing a suffrage and no balance. Because now everybody is striving to get more and gain more and do more so that they can have a particular lifestyle. And
Mhm.
I do believe that that causes the family to suffer. Now, not every family, but you look at how many people, I mean, there's so many variables that we could give here, but there's so many people where you just got to work so hard that you don't have a life. Come
Oh,
on. Come
I
on.
hear what you're saying, but I do think that that's the cautionary tale that we need. Like we need to stop that thinking that you need to have more to be more.
Yeah,
To
I
me, I
think it's
think this goes back.
quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I can spend 15 minutes with my grandkids and it'll be better than 8 hours that someone else spends with them. So I don't think it's that shouldn't define family, like, or or taken away from the family. Like some people are, going harder at the workplace because they want to provide for their family. They want to give their family experiences that they didn't have. And so they're making those hard choices. And so then now when they are with their families, like and I work a lot with mothers and, coming back to the workforce for the first time. So, and that like break down and cry because they have to leave their children with someone else, a newborn, a 4-month-old baby, leaving them in care for 10 hours a day. And, by the time they get them home, the baby's sleeping through the night and they're back. So, but the quality of time that they have with their children, like, is what I try to emphasize on. Like, the quality is much more important than the quantity of the hours you spend. So the children, it may seem like someone else is raising the family, or the family is, family's not what it used to be, period. I think across the board, I think, generations are shifting, more grandmothers are not the grandmother nana that we knew. You don't, like, who has a nana these days? Like, they're using terms like grandma. Like, what's a grandma? Like, don't do that. Like, so I think that's shifting too. Like the generation, they're getting younger. Parents aren't parenting; they're being friends. Like I wasn't a friend with my mother till I was in my 30s. Are you kidding me? Like, and there was points. I mean, and this. There was times in our relationship I was more the mother because of choices she made. But still, then we didn't reach a friendship till I was in my 30s. So.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing these kids now out together with them, you don't know who's the mother, who's the daughter. like, and they're wearing each other's clothes. And again, no judging, but that's the shift, like where families have gone. It's not, there's no nanas out there. Like, it's just not where people are afraid of. You said, you and Melissa, you thought about what you said in front of her before you said, nobody's thinking about that. Like, that's, it's a shift has changed.
A
So
shift
so
to
you're
change. Yeah.
I just said a lot. I
so you
know.
no, but you're seeing it, right? You're seeing those mothers who come to drop off their children because they have to re-enter the workforce for various reasons. I'm seeing the mother who feel like she can't breathe because she had to go back to work and drop her child off. So the mother that I'm seeing is about to lose her crap. The mother that you're seeing, that same mother, but she's completely broken down by the time she gets to me, because society has shifted and there is such pressure on her to go back to work and to have this family, and the quality over quantity. While that sounds good and we know that that would work in theory, it, as individuals, we already struggle to be enough for ourselves. To try to be enough for somebody else is overtime.
Yeah.
So
What's
let me go
enough?
ahead and ask
Like,
let's ask from the people who are joining us this evening, what are some of your greatest insights or challenges as you work, as you are home with your children? Tell us what is coming up for you in the chat as well. The other thing I think that's really important is giving ourselves grace in all of this, because we strive for perfection. And so I know earlier Sharhonda and I were saying progress over perfection, but recently I heard someone say done over perfect. Like, just get it done.
Mm.
And it's just done and moving on. So yeah.
I need
I'm
that
gonna go with
wand.
done. We're gonna get you one. I'm just send me your address. Um, but I think that is true. If we have some comments, let us know. Kyrie said work life term possibly because it's business term and work is a priority for the company, which is absolutely true. And I
Absolutely.
think
They drive,
that
like, businesses have so much, like, they drive so much what happens socially with all of us, um, the demands of the business, terminology, and I think people just want to be successful. Like, everybody wants to win. So they do, put more into stuff. And it's, you, I guess it depends too, like, what you define as winning. Like,
that was, oh my goodness, that was gonna be my question. So that's on you. That's your question. What does winning look like?
yeah, and for me, I think it shifted. I had somebody, because prior to like, during the midst of the pandemic, I was out of my role because all the schools closed, and then I started working on a COVID response team for the company. And I was it was interesting because I'm used to being a manager of people and always coaching, like, a group of directors and teachers, and that shifted. Now I'm on a team where everybody, we're all doing the same thing. I don't have people under me. So, and I started to think, it really made me think, like, you don't have to have direct reports in order to, like, lead people and motivate people. And it just, what was I saying before? Like, I just lost my thought that quick.
You
Oh
were saying
gosh.
that you're saying prior to COVID. So
Oh,
now your role.
so about winning. So the person. So
Mm.
now I'm leaving that team. I left that team and I'm back in my role now. Back in New York City, schools. Have my schools back. And one of the persons on the team said, "Well, you don't have to do anything extra. Like, you already won. Like, on this COVID team. Like, everybody looks up to you already as a leader." And I said, I said, it's interesting you're saying, like, I already won. I said, I'm not in a competition. Like, I'm not trying to win. I said, winning for me is to see you all be successful. Like,
Mm.
I don't need, like, I'm already, accomplishing the things I want to accomplish. Like, I already feel like I'm helping others and coaching others, that that's my win. Like, seeing somebody else
Mm.
do good. Like, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
the trophy, like, so for me, that's winning. Seeing somebody else seeing something I did help someone else is like my way to win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it probably aligns with like your core value of like being of service and, you know, like you said, motivating others, being that cheerleader. Like you don't need to be, hey, look at me. You rather see the whole team or these other people excel. And that is.
And I just want to comment. So Julie put C's gets degrees. And I don't think they should. Like, I don't think you should get a trophy for showing up. I think that's part of the problem too with people. So I'm not just cheering because you came, you know, I'm cheering because you accomplished something. Like if I'm cheering for you, if I'm giving you, like, I'm going to be authentic with you. If I'm giving you a compliment, it's because of something you did specifically. It's not to boost up your self-esteem or your morale. No. Because then that's false. You know, it's not genuine if it's just because you came. That C could be a B. Like, I wish I would, like, think about showing Nana or Pat, like, C's. That's not even a thing. Like, but again, if that's your best, then you will get applauded. Then you will be appreciated. I'm not saying, because that could be somebody's best.
But that didn't work, right? I tell people all the time that I still got trauma because if you don't get an E, you got a problem. Dre said my baby has a nana and a grandma, but they're definitely
and she's
cute.
and far and few in between, and he's so right.
And then he said, I struggle with the fact that our children don't have the social exposure and interaction that we had. Our social interaction as kids was golden.
Oh, I mean, just the thing, like, it's the sum of who we are, like, as kids, the interactions we've had and the things that we did, like, and kids now, everything is technology, you know, and then with school now being virtual, like, how do you have virtual school for a kindergartner, like for somebody in pre-K, like that? The whole point, their whole focus of learning at that age is social and emotional intelligence. How are they getting that behind a laptop?
Yeah.
Like,
so what do you say? Because that's your age, right? That's a part of the age that you have in your
and we
schools
have
at
some
younger age.
so we see like 6 and over. I agree that quality is better than some quantity is needed. I can't.
Oh yeah. He did say I can make a cake in the microwave and it only
Yeah,
takes
I
5
mean,
minutes. If I give it,
you definitely, there's certain aspects in relationships that you need that time for it to manifest and get to a place that it needs to be. So it's not everything is going to be a 5-minute or 15-minute win. Like, there definitely, has to be, a manifestation of time building up. Like, I understand that, but if you don't have it, like, then appreciate the moments you do have together and make the best of that. Like, don't use that as bickering time because 5-year-old's not tying their shoe yet and you want to just like keep like stressing them out to get them to tie their shoe. Like, do something else, like play a game with your kid, get on the floor and roll around, like, for 15 minutes, if that's all you have. Like, ideally, like, you would want more time, but it's just it's.
And I think it's like saying, what is the memories that you want this child to have of you, right? And during this whole COVID time, that's been like a reoccurring theme that Sharhonda and I've talked about is when this is over, if it's ever over, what are the stories that your family, that your children, because this moment now eventually becomes our history. So, what is the story that will be told about you? And so I hear what you're saying is trying to create those moments meaningful, packed with hopefully good memories.
Yeah, I had New Year's Eve when I was little. We used to go outside and bang pots and pans. I don't think anybody at midnight. I don't think anybody, and I'm talking about like when I was 5 years old. I don't think people do that anymore. Like, it just doesn't happen. This New Year's Eve, like, we were lucky. My stepdaughter was here with the kids. Like, at 12 o'clock, we were outside banging pots and pans. And Amari and Olivia, it was probably the best time of their life. And I know that they will remember that for a long, long time. Like, they're normally in church on New Year's Eve. So that's one holiday we never spend together. This year, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make sure they still have a good time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
I
that is it.
agree.
It is about being intentional with the time that you do have. Julie says seeing others win is winning. I agree, Julie. I like to see people win. And Dre said, because I was going to ask you this question, Michelle, and Dre put it here, life isn't going to reward you for just showing up. Life will slam the door on you and go next. And so one of the things, I think Kyrie might chime in on this, but everybody gets a trophy. And so
For
LaShawn, I
showing
know
up. Like that's
yeah, so I know we've had this conversation. So LaShawn, you and Michelle can kind of take that. And Isabel said, I also struggle with that, Dre. As far as, they don't have that social interaction and exposure that we had. I think that's what Izzy's talking about.
it's funny because something as simple, like I tell like pre-K teachers, don't, and they look at me like, because I'm very technical with things, like, and especially for like really entry level teachers, I'm black and white, and until you get some experience, then we could get into the gray for you to better understand things. And I'm like, don't tell the children good job. And they look at me like, I'm like, I don't want to hear you say good job. And they're like, I said, because that's not authentic praise. If they're doing something, point out, oh, I like the way you use that red crayon to draw those 3 lines. Be specific and make it, if you have 16 kids, 16 different statements you should make. Like that is intentional. That's purposeful. I don't want to hear good job. And they look at me and I'm like, or don't say, oh, you're okay if they're crying. I'm like, they're not. Are you, when you're crying,
Mm-hmm.
are you okay? Like there's something going on,
Mm-hmm.
like validate, like, so I'm very technical. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I see like I've out of it, people have walked away from it, and oh, I hopefully I help them to think differently and give, even if it's out of those 16 kids, 2 of them a better experience, and build up that self-esteem at that age, authentic, not good job and you get a trophy, and I'm not creating little monsters like, because they're getting trophies and have these expectations, like they walk in the door, oh, where's my prize? Like what? Like no, like that's not, and it's not because of how I was brought up. It's because of what I know. Like Dre said, like life is not like that. Like next, and they're on to the next person. Like as great as you can be, as much as you could do for a company, if you're not making the cut right then and there, okay, next. Like everybody
Yeah.
can be replaced. Like all of that.
I was thinking that everyone is replaceable.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things for me, even especially in HR. And I still tell people this all the time who I see struggle with work and that balance is that if you drop dead today, somebody else is going to be in that seat in an hour. Like they still will have to get their revenue generated, and someone else, your family might get a flower or or a card and a box with your things in it after they make sure their stuff is out. But you are replaceable, and so you do have to be mindful of your commitment to yourself too. You see people who work so hard, but the whole get a trophy concept, I love that. I don't know if Sonia's still listening, but one of the things that LaShawn and I think we talked about a few weeks back, is I just noticed it one day. I think when I was watching Asia and Christian, or one of the kids playing, and so the first thing we do, and we know this just from even us as children, as soon as you fall, the first thing the parent says is, "You're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're good, you're good." And I'm like, when I'm working with people now, I don't work with children, right? But I am working with the child inside of the adult. Is that we don't know how to express ourselves because every time we got hurt, we were told we were good, right? So that's, we literally train children to not be able to identify what pain and discomfort is because we're like, no, 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 shh, 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 shh. You got it, you got it. You're good
Give
now.
them the language, help them identify what the emotion is. Are you embarrassed? Are you surprised that you just tripped? You didn't see that there? Are you, most likely they're embarrassed. Like ask them if they're okay. Oh, you're not okay. What's wrong? What hurts? Does something hurt you? Like
Mm-hmm.
give them like, and then you create, and I really believe strongly that about this, like when you give them you help them identify those emotions, when they become adults, you'll have that husband, that brother, that father that can say, you know what, I'm upset. I didn't like the way you did this. Instead of not coming home after work because he's pissed off at you and sitting somewhere in a bar having a drink because he don't want to have to deal with you. He doesn't know how to communicate, or he doesn't even know what he has to say, wants to say to you, because he can't identify the thing because he was told all his life, you're okay. Like, no.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't figure out what it is that you're feeling. Kyrie said at the job sometimes they don't replace you. Julie said, "Can you get all A's in? Can you get all A's in every area as a parent, a wife, a girlfriend, a homeowner, a teacher, whatever your occupation is?"
I could say you get a lot of headaches trying to.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, not to sound cliche, but you can't make everybody happy all the time. Like I say, you can do well in all things. I think you could, master some things, but not all things all times. Maybe today you can be an A+ wife and tomorrow you're an A+ at your job. But I think you're setting yourself up for, I don't want to say failure, but just hard times if you set those expectations for yourself. Everything I have to perfect at. Like, no, not me.
Yeah.
And I do consider myself like an overachiever. Like I want to do well in things, but I want to do well in this and focus on it and then move on to the next thing. I also don't believe in multitasking, so maybe that could be it too. I think
Don't.
that
Nana said that. Dre.
Now,
there's
Nana
no,
used to
you
tell him
can't,
that all the
be,
time.
something falls by the wayside when you're multitasking. I strongly believe that.
I agree. I used to not agree, but I do agree that, especially the older you get. I mean, listen, I mean, you can't do everything at one time. But one of the things that I said is, how do you give 100% to everything, right? If you're giving, I mean, what percentage can you really give five things, right? So, can you give 100% to five things at one time? No, you can give 20% max to each thing at one time. How do you give something 100% all
I
the
think you could
time?
always improve on things. I think something I do,
Hmm.
and it's every day, I reflect at the end of the day. Like,
Hmm.
okay, what can I have, done differently? How can I improve in this? Like, and so maybe today I was an 80 and tomorrow I might be an 82. Like for
Hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
it's, I
Just
think I agree, like the progress. And I say that to people, like, I don't want perfection. I just want to see progress, make strides. You may not ever reach 100, and that's okay, but
Hmm.
you've come a long way if you were at 80 and now you're at 99. Like,
Hmm.
mm.
Dre said everything isn't for
everybody,
everybody,
that's so
and
true.
and then Kyrie said that goes back to slavery and Jim Crow. We don't have the time to work through our struggles. You just got to keep
Yep.
pressing. Not the healthiest, but the reality for many.
And everything gets suppressed. That's just, I mean, you don't
Hmm.
talk about your feelings. You don't show that you're upset, especially in the workplace. You don't let nobody see you upset, mad, or
Hmm.
when you do, then, oh, you're the woman with the attitude, or you're the nasty woman, or you're the emotional woman. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm
oh
just me.
Lord, God forbid if a man showed emotions, and he's got all other kind of names, along with him. So
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of how the conversation started with the, who am I? I think so often these labels come from outside people trying to, put these labels on us. And then once you have the label, how are you supposed to act with that label, which is kind of where the conversation started. And I think it's interesting if we look back on our childhood, and I would be curious to see like what influences from our childhood do we see showing up in our current state of who we are.
yeah, I would try to like encourage even people listening, or however, whatever platform you have us on right now. I would encourage people, next time someone asks it, like will ask the question, like, who are you? Don't use a title. Use adjectives instead. See if you can shift your mind that way. And it's work. Like you have to think about, like, well, who am I? Like, yes, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a wife, but besides, like, what are those defining characteristics. Those are titles: mother, daughter, sister, wife. Like, but you're compassionate? You're empathetic. Like, who are you? I think more my characteristics define more of who I am than a title.
I like that. I like that. I think I accept that as a challenge to kind of evolve with, I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm fun. Yeah, we've talked about that, but I really like that as kind of a challenge for where we are tonight.
I think too, the caveat to that is, well, one of the things that I do when I'm working with people when we go to do the butterfly or a grounding exercise is I ask them to give me 3 to 5 positive statements. What's disheartening to me is when people can't, right? And I would probably say more than 60% of the people who I ask to tell me 5 things that you love about yourself can't tell me 5 things that you love about yourself. So I'm asking y'all in the chat, go ahead and drop in there 5 things that you love about yourself. It is disheartening because we and one of the things that I do, I take post-its and do this little exercise with post-its. But when I'm asking people who they are and they're challenged with their identity, I use an analogy, right? So the other day I was talking to somebody and I was like, well, what kind of watch is that? And they were like, oh, it's Apple. And I was like, no, that's a Garmin. And they were like, no, it's an Apple. And I was like, no, it's a Garmin. And like, so we did that for a little bit. And they like arguing me, like really like, no, it's the Apple. So what I'm saying to them is I'm interested in knowing how you were so convicted that this was an Apple Watch because it came in an Apple box and you believe that that's what you bought. When I tell you that you are enough, that you are strong, that you can make it, that you're an overcomer, you can't believe that. So you can believe the label that someone else will put on you, but you can't believe the label that is clearly who you are. And so that is so disheartening to me that as individuals, we are so quick to accept the labels that other people put on us, inadequate or, not good enough or, whatever. But we don't know how to affirm, declare, or, really have the strong conviction for ourselves of who we are.
Do you think that comes from conditioning, and then it's on a loop from that inner voice or that inner child?
I do think so, right? So, I say most people talk about generational curses. I talk more about generational conditioning because I believe that so many of the things that we do are learned behaviors, right? So if you look, if people are like, oh, well, that's just a generational curse on our family. That's that alcoholism. That's a curse. No, if you watch somebody be drunk your whole life, you're likely to be drinking if everybody was drinking. Like, that's not a curse, that's conditioning. You're learning that behavior. If you're in a room and people are always cursing or they're doing it, that's conditioning. If you've been taught and, made to do something, that is conditioning. And so if you're as a child, even in the womb, we have to think about that trauma is in utero, right? So that trauma is starting in the womb. What happens in the brain is happening in the body. What happens in the body is happening in the brain, and that trauma is stored, right? And so we go on through life just like those falls where you're saying you're okay with that trauma being stored. And get up, boy, you stupid. Look at you, you clumsy. Oh my God, he's crazy. Oh my God, so you begin to believe these things. Now, no one really said them with malicious intent. In many cases, they're
Or
not
even
really said
shirt you buy for kids, troublemaker. Like you're
The boy
labeling them,
shirt.
and now they're gonna live up to that. That's who they're gonna be. If you say it enough times, that's who they're gonna be. Like, and I know, like, it might be a stretch. Some people will be, oh, come on, like, but no, if you hear something enough times, you're gonna believe it, whether it's true or not. Like you said with the apple, like enough times, and that's what you're used to. You're gonna start to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking as you're talking, we do this like just different activities, icebreakers, like when we open up meetings. And we recently did one that said everybody had to go around the table and say I am, or around Zoom and say I am, but I am not, and just come up with 2 adjectives. And the team I work with, they tease me a lot and say, oh, you're passionate, strong-willed, That's their nice way of saying that I'm strong-willed. I'm passionate about things. That's the corporate, acceptable term. And so I used it against, not against them, but I used it as an example. I said, I am passionate, but I am not without compassion. So just because I feel strong about something, it doesn't mean I can't relate to what others are feeling or thinking, but I am going to dig my heels in and stay stuck right here on what I believe in. But it doesn't mean I don't have compassion for the other person. So just thinking about people need to be able to speak up and say, yeah, okay, maybe that is true, but this is also true about me. Like,
I I love that, Michelle. That's gonna be the thing. I'll put it in the chat. Dre said he's loyal, confident, strong, handsome, focused, driven,
5,
determined,
Dre, 5.
speculative, strong character, driver, manager of EBUs, patient, loving,
You must have
support.
a very supportive wife that makes you feel all of this. I just want to put that out there, Dre.
Well, Michelle, you might want to know what the EBUs are. And
I don't
then
know if I do.
Isabel said, my laughter, my kindness, my strength, my listening ability, and my boldness. Yes, to that boldness in the laughter. Dre, he's back. Dre said, blessed, privileged, well parented, surrounded by good
Dre, you're
souls,
up
one
to
of God's
20. Stop.
favorites, kept and protected by my EBUs. But I like that. So, guys, if you're listening, what would you put in those blanks that Michelle shared with us? I am blank, but I am not blank. What would your answer be to that? I am blank, but I am not blank. Sean.
I want to answer that, but I want us to leave with, I wanted to kind of tap into hearing a funny story since we have a 40-year friendship, girlfriend, sisterhood here. I kind of wanted to have you guys take us back, and I wanted to end on something, a little kind of memory lane type thing.
I think
Nostalgia.
one of the things I found the funniest. Wait, what?
Are you ready? What did you
Oh yeah, no, not. And this is, look, you'll see how well I deflect, because this isn't about me and you. It's something somebody else did. So, and I never knew, like all these years, I didn't know it. I think Pat might have shared it a couple years ago. And after that, I'm like, oh my, like that is so funny. So our friend, somebody moved next door from on Dwight. And, Sharhonda and I, we just sized up this whole person's life. And none of it was true what we thought. Like, we thought she was married to her stepfather, and then her little sister was their child, because we never really saw. She ended up becoming a really good friend of ours. But Pat shared with us that it's Tanya. Tanya would, from her living room, would point her remote into Pat's living room and change the channels. So and Pat, Pat, the sweetest person ever. Like, and Pat and Tanya would be sitting there like cracking up laughing. Now we don't know this is happening, and Pat's like, "What the heck is going?" She didn't curse, but like, "What the heck is going on with this remote? Turning it off, turning it back on." Like, and I just thought that was our childhood. I felt like that story really depicted how we grew up, and just the pranks and the fun, like sitting on the porch, like that was really it. And I think the best part was not knowing it until years later. Like,
right,
can you
right.
in your house now and your channels just start changing? Like,
that is funny. That is
do you
hilarious.
remember that, Pat? And I think with Dre just was always like playing jokes on us, like, but they were like mean jokes. I don't think they were funny.
No, you and Dre were mean to me.
No.
So no, yes. So
Dre,
Isabel says,
I need your backup here, Dre. Come on.
Isabel said, Michelle, Isabel said, Michelle, it was so wonderful to hear your voice. I missed that.
Same here. Isabel, you should be a guest next week. See how I got this? Come on.
One of the things so I remember, right, when Dre, the thing was that all of my friends, Dre kind of like took them and almost kind of turned them against me in a way. So Do you remember when Dre used to say, "I ate the tree in front of the door"? Yes. So you
What?
so
No,
Dre,
I
I
don't
remember.
recall. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
recall.
So what's interesting is this is how trauma takes root. And Dre
Wait,
and I have
wasn't
talked
LaShawn
about.
your friend first too? So he like
Yes.
literally took her.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's why
I
you're
was
hung
gonna
up
make
on
that
that.
connection.
So this has never ceased, right? But I think what's interesting is I remember just, and it's just real transparency. I remember just being so jealous, right? Because my friends could be friends with Andre also. But I think what really happened is, as we all know, almost 40 years later, and I tell people this: if you are friends with us, you are family, right? Because we are we're just a tight family. So just like last night, what I thought about last night after hanging up, and I mean literally anybody who wasn't on just missed it because we like belly gut laughed the
Where is
whole
Uncle
time.
Kevin too? Because he said he was getting on tonight.
You know what he meant is that he was getting on tonight. So anyway,
You know
so
what?
he wasn't gonna be on Sister Chat. Now he might be watching from
No,
YouTube, but
that
he
pork
wasn't
chop
getting.
probably got his stomach messed up eating that pork chop at 12 o'clock at night.
What I thought of today is how much fun me, you, and Tanya had. Like when we were laughing last night, all I could think about is like being up 24/7, like straight laughing, and how extremely funny Tanya was or is, right? Because we know she's hilarious, but just how much fun we had. And we had these little core units and friendships. But LaShawn said it best today before we all got together. She was just like, it's so incredible how you don't have to see people every day
Mm-hmm.
to just kind of pick up where you left off. And I can clearly recall when mommy said, "Michelle, I haven't seen you since." I'm like, that's a lie. Because when we got to Jersey in August of 2017, and the first thing you did was come and get me. Like, look, we going out. You called Shanna. I don't even remember if I drove or not. I don't know, but you know, you were like, "What you need?" Right? That was Nana. Michelle was there. She, we struggling to try to get balloons and do different things, and Michelle was like, "I got you. I'll be there. I'll pick up the balloons." And I'm like, man. And it just was such a reminder that you don't have to see people every day, that you have these relationships and sisterhoods where they're just formed and they freaking last forever.
Yeah, once you,
So I'm
I feel like once you're connected, you're always connected.
Mhm.
Like that.
Yeah. I I don't believe that when people like some people are in your life for a reason, some people are in your life for a season, some
No,
people are in your life for a
yeah,
life.
and when I speak about authentic connections. Like you can connect with somebody over something, and years later, you avoid them when you're in the store. Like you don't want to, like, oh God, that's her. Like, yeah, I think that's like that happens. That's not an authentic connection. I'm saying we're connected. We're always going to be like we could go years without talking. I mean, even with Shauna, like I don't see Shauna often. I can call Shauna right
Mhm.
now, and if she hears a crack in my voice, Shauna's at my door.
Mhm.
Like, girl, what?
Mhm.
Like, and she's evolved and is not the same person she was back then, but
Mhm.
she will be the Shauna you need her to be when you need, like she calls me on Facebook Messenger. I don't get that on my phone. Like I don't get those alerts. So because she called me one too many times and I didn't answer her, like during this pandemic, she showed up at my house last week. She was like, "Michi, what's wrong?" Like just busting through, left answer the door. She's just busting through doors, and I'm like, "Girl, what?" She was like, don't go that long without me here." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I don't," and then I'm looking, I'm like, "Stop doing that face. You have my number. Like, why would you?" But that's just her. Like,
Kyrie, type in the chat what Shauna had with her when she got to Michelle's house. Dre said, "I'm concerned that our kids aren't going to have those 40-year relationships like you all have."
Mhm.
But I think too, Isabel, we talked about this. Like, I haven't seen Isabel. It's like breaks my heart sometimes since whatever year. Isabel, what year did you move? 97? because I left in 98. So Izzy left in 96 or 97.
Where is Isabel's
Um,
not in New Jersey anymore?
no, Isabel is in Missouri. And I just declare that
Missouri.
every
Now I can say I know somebody that lives in Missouri.
Not okay. So Isabel left Jersey in 94. We had so in 2017, we're like, this is the year. Like we have these times, we're like, this is the year. And life is happening, we get it and we're all going, whatever. And in January of last year, and Michelle, because you and I have talked about it, and we were like, all right, we're coming. You came to Maryland, different things. Like we're like, we're gonna connect. This is gonna be our year to connect. But Isabel and I, like 2020, we were like, this is it. I called her, sent her a message in January and was like, pick a month, I'm coming, whatever it takes, we're going to meet. And then old Coco came. And so that's a whole year. And so we got almost another year, whatever. But what I know is
1984.
that when we did Sister Chat 2 weeks ago, Isabel was like, okay, Maka, I heard you say that you had a bad day, you were crying, I'm calling you. And then we ended up talking on the phone for 2 hours. She's like, what's going on? But that's what we do.
Yes, I know. I can hear it now.
Right, a butter roll and coffee from we're talking donuts. So but that is true. And that's the same thing. Shauna was right there. You guys were just there. And when it's just amazing to have that those friendships and those relationships. And Dre said, Ziggy, were you in the Air Force or the Navy? I was trying to remember the other day. I was thinking about when you came home from Japan and we were all at mommy's house. She's the Air Force. Dre was saying we went to Quick Check. Was that a good enough story for you?
Those were good.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna tell one of my favorite things. I'm gonna tell one of my favorite things that we used to do, which is crazy. I mean, everything we used to do. I'm gonna tell one that I could tell. We used to go to the Dickinson. It was on Easter, Michelle, if you remember, to the Dickinson Carnival, at a carnival at Dickinson High School yard. Is that where it was? Do you remember that?
I'm listening. Keep going.
That's it.
Want to see where this is going?
No, that's it. We used to go to the carnival, which used to be at Dickinson, like
High
parking
school?
lot or something. Yeah, it used to be at Dickinson High School, and they would have that carnival or fair, maybe, I don't know what it was called, at the I would send you a picture. You gonna remember. I'll tell you who went one time. The Frenches from across the street from you.
Oh, was it the feast? Like we went to a feast?
No, we went to a carnival.
Were there rides?
Yes.
Oh.
And remember who was the guy off of Video?
Oh my
Video.
God! Yes. Remember? Oh, if Tanya was on here, she would say VHP, Van Houten Posse.
So Michelle grew up on Van Houten, but that was like one of the things, and just being able to like run to Michelle's house in like 5 minutes, like we would just. I know.
Like you went alone. Was I supposed to say I was with you? I don't know. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, no, Dre. I was with her. Duh. We had so much fun because they had rides. It was a carnival. Yeah.
Let me guess, you were wearing your jean shorts and your white t-shirt. Like, it was good.
Yeah, that we were dressed alike, probably.
I'm gonna find. Don't you have that picture of us dressed alike? We're gonna put it in the. We're gonna put it
the
on
t-shirts
Facebook.
we got from
Virginia Slim.
Mother worked for a cigarette company and used to get. Now this tells you how old we are. Her mother worked for a cigarette company and used to get like branded stuff, and we would wear it. Like young kids have on these branded Cools,
Virginia
whatever,
Slim.
some type of t-shirt. You couldn't tell us, and we would wear it dressing alike, like get dressed and go somewhere.
We come a long way, baby. That's what the shirt was.
Oh
Virginia
yeah, the cigarettes, something.
Yes.
It's for a cigarette brand.
Yeah, Virginia Slims. So, mommy said you all had a very unique childhood that is to be treasured. In order for children today to have that wonderful experience, they will need to put the electronic devices down and learn to socialize.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Everything is through devices. Roblox. They're building houses. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, she said, "Ha, those T-shirts."
Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
find
this
that
was
picture and post
good.
it.
That was good. Those
It
were
I enjoyed
perfect.
it, even though I feel like you pulled one over on me, like not letting me know you have like a whole live show going, but it felt good.
Well, we're
So
glad that
parting thoughts. What do you want to leave
I
everyone with?
think that you should invite Shauna for next
no,
week, or Tanya.
we should
Tomorrow
listen,
is Tanya's
LaShawn.
birthday, Valentine's Eve. Just give her a shout out.
Oh yes. Oh, we had shout outs. Okay, so happy birthday to my sister and friend Krista Phipps, the Dr. Krista Phipps,
Okay.
therapist, counselor, play therapist, supervisor. I'm sending her, even though she won't see it, somebody might tell her a happy birthday. I hope that she's having an amazing day today. And yes, happy early birthday to my good friend and sister, another Jerseyite, Judy Soto. Judy's birthday is tomorrow. Tanya Bradley. Tanya's birthday is tomorrow. Um, so many people in the next 2 days birthdays coming up. But LaShawn, you did say something you wanted to ask. I'm gonna say it and then you do parting thoughts. Michelle, if you could say one thing, this was LaShawn's thing you said you were gonna say
If I
earlier.
say that again,
If you could advise your young self, we'll let LaShawn go first, and then. But
okay.
this was the question: if you could advise your young self something, what would you say to her?
Mm. I would tell my young self to take more risks.
Mm.
Ooh,
Mhm.
me, I would tell my young self to slow down, and I'll
And
just
you
leave it. I'll just leave it there.
and Sharonda.
Hello.
I would tell my young self to let it go. Yeah,
Okay.
that. Yes, Carrie said happy birthday, Mimi. It's our niece's birthday. It's nephew Will's birthday. Everybody's birthday. Gary's birthday. Just birthdays everywhere. All right. So parting thoughts.
You
Your parting
froze.
thoughts could be anything about it could be anything about anything to anyone. LaShawn, you're first. LaShawn,
Find you.
you got the music. Wait,
No, wait.
wait.
I was trying to pull up the music. I would just leave everyone kind of with what Michelle was saying and just find the beauty in the little moments.
Okay. Um, I was going to say something, but I don't remember what it is. I just want to put these up so that if somebody looks there, we'll see their birthday greetings. Hey, Julie. Thanks for joining us. Is that Wanda? Wanda, you got it? Oh, and we got
Jo-
to say thank you to, is that you or Tawanda? We got
no,
to say thank
it's
you to,
Tawanda.
we got to say thank you to Tawanda for being our backstage manager. Yes. Thank you, Tawanda. She goes unseen every week, but she is always working to keep the production, as Michelle calls it,
A whole big production. I was backstage,
going.
had to wait to come out. This is an event.
So, Michelle, what would you have to share with anyone? What would you want to leave as your legacy of Sister Chat or whatever?
Wow. No pressure. I think just take time to pause and be in the moment and make the most of that moment. If you don't do anything else, just that's it. Be present.
I
Be
like that.
present. And I think, let me
Wait,
grab
wait, can I just
something.
say, Dre, with your little self, just be a little present. I don't believe I didn't think of that sooner. Sorry. Go ahead. See, this is why we don't end on time, and you have to pay extra airtime for this? I hope not.
Wait, I'm trying to find something deep that I said to
I hope
this
your little
week.
airtime is okay.
It's so good. It's good. Sharonda pays
You,
for the
you can
premium
tell us during
packet.
the story offline.
Listen,
Oh,
Sharhonda,
LaShawn,
Oh, she knows
Sharhonda,
about the little things?
she pays for the premium package, so we're good.
Oh, it's just a little thing for her to pay for that. Okay.
LaShawn, LaShawn, you're there, right? Yeah, listen, Michelle, we're all clear.
Okay.
So here's what I'm gonna say. Y'all ready? I'm gonna be deep. When you think about situations and circumstances in your life, I'm gonna ask you, what role did you play? How could you have gotten a different outcome? What could you do differently? What outcome were you expecting? And when you define what outcome you desire, you can set appropriate goals to reach them. If you do not know what outcome you desire, you will be less effective setting smart goals.
Well, next time I'm going to have a prepared speech for my closing remarks because I don't like to be outshined with
That
your
was
little
not.
speech. With your little speech. I'm sorry. Wait, is McGruff in the Jersey Facebook group with PT?
I don't think so. Isn't that just for Marylanders? Is that what
Yeah,
you referring to?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
just.
just Marylanders. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
make
not
the
even in
little. I didn't make the little group drive. Sorry.
it. I'm not in a group either, Michelle. I don't think so. All right, so Sean, you got music. So Michelle, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us and just for
Thank
being
you for
such a
having
great
me.
sister. And we're gonna get you a wand as
Please.
the chat as a Sistah Chat memorabilia to your time here at
I don't
Sistah
even
Chat. Just
have nothing to swing around here.
That's okay.
No, it's not. I don't like the. I got this magnifying glass.
All right, cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Michelle, send me your address, okay? You're gonna get a Sistah Chat memorabilia.
All right, I
Yes,
will be.
for being a special guest on the show this
Thank you.
evening.
I felt really special. You guys really
Oh,
did a
hold
nice
up. I'm
job.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, put the plug in. Come on, buy the book.
Oh yes.
All
Where
right,
can we
guys. So
purchase it?
Chasing
yes,
Rainbows. What's the IBN
yeah.
number in case they need to search that?
They will not have to search. Super excited, guys. So we're gonna start shipping next week. If you want your autographed copy,
Can I
please
buy
be
it on
sure to.
Amazon?
You can buy it on Amazon. It will not be autographed
Oh
though.
no,
So
I want autograph.
if you want a special book launch edition
Mercy.
like this, then you will need to purchase it on the website www.sharhondaford.com. If you have questions, you can email at info@sharhondaford.com. And I'm telling you, I've been getting some exciting feedback. It brings me to tears that my vulnerability and my story is changing lives. So I'm telling y'all again, it's not just about trying to conceive, it is about in pursuit of purpose. Get your copy of Chasing Rainbow.
I'm proud of you, Mooka. I'm gonna get my copy tonight.
Awesome.
But I want it signed with a note, not just your signature.
So you just put in the description box what you would like to have.
You tell your manager who I am. What do you mean?
Let them know.
I
Let
don't
them
have no
know.
privileges here. Come on.
Let
You have
them know.
You have privileges, Michelle. Make
Thank
sure you
you.
specify so that when my team sees it, they will know exactly who you are. Okay. And Selena just said she just caught on to what you're saying, Michelle.
Oh.
Also, as
right.
we wrap up, we're still celebrating Black businesses. So if you have a special vendor that you would like to support or acknowledge for the month of February, go ahead and drop that in the chat. Also, I'm still celebrating my favorite small Black-owned business, Saucy Customs. Dre, please drop the link in the chat. You can get custom shot glasses, keychains, trays that you can use for lots of different things. And I don't know what else is. Oh, plaques, custom plaques.
Spotify plaques. I have mine over there. You can get a custom Spotify plaque, and you can get the custom keychains and custom jewelry boxes, and they are amazing. So they are all handmade and customized for you. So Saucy Customs. Okay, and then we have Brie Monet Graphics. So we're gonna drop the link to Brie Monet Graphics in there to make sure. So if you need a logo, if you need video work, if you need any of those things, check her out on YouTube, Brie Monet. And she also offers graphic services. So there are a few things there. And if you're looking for some Christ in the Clinician apparel or some It's Okay to Not Be Okay apparel, you can go and buy that on my website also. So,
and if you need coaching services or accountability, I am available. So we got you covered. See, Sistah Chat, we running
for whatever
it
you need. That's it. That like point blank period. Whether your need is little or big.
We cover.
Don't choke, Lashon.
We got you covered.
I mean, we are first aid CPR also. So if you're choking, you can.
So here we go.
I love this.
These are some items that I got this week from Florenza Lee. She is the author of this book, Manny and Tutu. This one belongs to my godson. He's going to get this, but this is written by Florenza Lee and it's illustrated beautifully. So check out that book if you're looking for some books to add to your collection. This is Adventurous Olivia's Alphabet Quest. I freaking love this book. I called Lashon and like already started reading it to her. And it has like a page for each alphabet, and then it has words there and fill in the blanks for you to help their children with the alphabet. And there's a new release coming out as well. But this is my absolute favorite book, Lashon. I'm sure you're gonna love this one. This book is for my niece, who's gonna be getting her book in the mail, and also my godson's sister, who's like a niece to us also. She's gonna get her book. But this is Adventurous Olivia's Calm Quest by Florenza Lee. So all of these are by Florenza Lee, and it is about mindfulness, and it teaches your child how to breathe as they read the book, how to breathe and how to relax. So I'm going to put the link there. You can get the book on Amazon, but she is offering a special this month for Black History Month, where all of the books are on sale with free shipping, I believe, on her website. So I'll put that there as well. So I mean, I'm super excited to support these businesses, and I'm super excited for you guys.
Awesome. Well, as we end, we will go with a classic. Maybe. Let's see
if we can hear it.
I need love, ease my mind. I need to find
wait.
someone to hold mine. When mama said, can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait. She said, love don't come easy. It's a game of invitation. Can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait. You gotta try.
This Mercy G. Michelle, that Mercy coming to stay down. Mercy's not playing. Oh, mommy said I. Oh, there's my nephew.
Look. Bye-bye. I love you, Fred.
Dre McGruff, he loves your
I tried, Dre, with my little chair.
good night, everyone.
Thanks so much. Good night.
Bye-bye.